Hi there, my name is Terry Smith. I'm the owner of Adorable Deco Decor, where we make and sell wreaths and other types of home decor. I also work toward inspiring others to make their own designs through my wreath making group. Today I'm going to show you how to make this beautiful floral wall basket. Okay, let's go ahead and talk about supplies. Now first off, you'll need a tobacco basket, and usually the ones I choose are a little larger than this, but at the timing of this tutorial, supplies are pretty limited, so we have to take what we can get. And when I went to Hobby Lobby, they only had this one and then a humongous one. So I grabbed the smaller one. Well, I take that back. They did have one other smaller one that fit inside this, but anyway, just it doesn't matter. You put the same principles will apply when you're making a tobacco basket, regardless of the size. So just pick one you like. And this one is, let me see, start to measure, but it should tell me right here. This one is 14.75 by 10. Okay, and so anyway, we're going to need a basket, and you're going to need some floral foam. You're going to need some floral pins, some Spanish moss to cover up the foam. Now, too, some people like to use gaps and cracks, and again, I use that in a very limited fashion. The only time I might use it is maybe if I used it for something else and I want to spray out some patties, make some patties, and then I can use that in place of the floral foam. I'll have to think to show you that, but anyway, you just need something to stick your florals in, okay? And then I've got some greenery, and actually I think both of these, no, this one's not, but yeah, two of these are leftovers. Just a bush that you've seen me use before. It is just a mixed bush. It has, the thing I like about this bush is that most of them are wired, most of the sprigs off of it. There's ferns and little berry-like things, and then some longer kind of airy type of leaf. But we'll be using that for sure. We might be using some of this, either one of these boxwoods. This one's got a little bit of frosting to it. This one's a Hobby Lobby. This other one, not really sure where I got that, but it's just a scrap, really. And then we're going to need some florals, and actually this, you may have seen I've done a swag with this spray before, and we're going to use this to make a matching tobacco basket, okay? And I'll show you how we'll piece that together. I did grab a couple of other florals just in case we need, I thought we might need something a little bit long and spiky, so I got this clover berry bush, and then these little daisies. So I don't know if we use those or not. I also grabbed some orange cosmos as well. Okay? All right, and then we're going to need some ribbon, and I grabbed some in coordinating colors. Now, you could use a burlap if you wanted to. But of course, as I always tell you, choose your florals off, or choose your ribbon off of your focal point, and my focal point in this is going to be my florals, okay? And I could just use this lavender and pink plaid, but to me it was going to compete too much if I left it by itself. I needed something to calm it down just a little bit, so I threw in this solid, it's a solid lavender, and you could use a hot pink also, or actually for that matter you could use a softer pink as well. Like I said, you could also use a burlap. You could also use like a black and white buffalo check if you'd like, and or you could use some bumblebee ribbon. That'd be pretty in this too. But this is what I chose, since this is what I used on the swag that I made using this spray. So of course you're going to need wire cutters, hot glue, scissors, pipe cleaner, that kind of thing. So, okay. All right, well, let's get started. All right, I'm going to turn you down. Most of this video, you're going to see me working down here. And so I'm going to turn you down here. Give you the eagle eye view here. Okay. All right. Now, like I said, you're going to need some floral foam. Let's go ahead and get the price tag off. And this is just a spare piece I had. It's actually just a little bit big. I don't want to lose fact that this is a tobacco basket. Okay, so we're not going to completely fill this up. My thinking is I'm just going to put a little corner here and put some goodies there rather than fill the whole thing. And even though this fits in there, I don't want to extend all the way over. So I'm gonna trim off just a little bit of it. Let's see, maybe about like this. I'm just going to take my knife here and just score it. And then it should just break. And you know this part's messy. I think I'm going to trim off this corner down here too. I guess I could just put it in like that. Let's see how that's going to flush. No, I need to, because I'm going to be attaching my foam with some floral pins. So right now this foam is kind of standing off of the basket itself, so it's going to be a little bit before the pin actually gets in that foam. I want it to be a little bit more secure, so I'm going to trim off some of these edges here, just kind of at a V. This part's always so messy. Cutting this floral foam. All right, now I'm going to trim off this corner here. And it doesn't have to fit in there perfectly, but now at least it's flush against this basket, and I should be able to secure it pretty well. Now, like I said, I'm going to use floral pins. You could also, if you wanted to tie it with some pipe cleaners, you could do that, or some zip ties for that matter. But like I said, I'm going to use floral pins. Okay? All right, so let's turn this over. Let me get a couple of these pins out. Now, another thing too, and actually I guess I could go ahead and do that. If you wanted to, you could go ahead and put some moss down there on the back side of here. I think I'm going to do that. Let me grab my box of moss. And what that's going to do is going to make it a little cleaner on the back side. Like when you look at it from this view. Now, if you wanted to cover it with something else like some felt, that would work also. And I've done both. All right, so that's the way it looks on the back now. Okay? All right, I'm just going to turn that over. Make sure I've got that in there good and flush. And I'm just going to take this and just kind of push it down in there. And I'm going to put some of them going this way, some of them going that way when I insert them, so it kind of grabs onto it a little bit stronger. So that one I went this way, so this one I'm going to go up this way. Now, one thing I did want to tell you too, again, I'm telling you these things from experience, but be careful, because these baskets, they will crack. Just try, be careful. Don't manhandle it too much. Okay? All right, so that's in there very well and secure. So then afterwards, I would just take some felt and cover that up. Probably right here, at least, or you could do some leaves. So, okay. All right, let me cover up the front now. And if I'd been thinking, I'd have set this on top of a bag or in a box or something like that, but I never do. It seems like that's always an afterthought for me. And just like when we're doing our centerpieces and such, we don't need to put a whole bunch of this on. Just enough to cover part of it, because we're going to cover most of it with florals. Okay? Make sure you get over here on this side. And you don't necessarily have to dip your pens in glue. A lot of times I don't. It's just personal preference. I mean, the florals will be holding most of the stuff in there. Okay. Now I'll just put just a tad bit on the front and we'll be good. This is a project that you'd be really good to advertise as a Mother's Day gift if you're a seller, or make it one for your mother. I was just sitting here thinking that'd be a good thing for my mother. She's got a kind of a small place. All right. Okay, now, like I said, we don't have it all covered. You can see a little bit of the foam exposed, but that's okay. All right. Just kind of tuck it down in there. And like I said, I should have set this on a bag or something, but I just didn't even think about it until it's too late. Okay. All right, I'm going to clean up my mess, and then we'll get on to the next step. Okay, now the next thing I want to do before I get too much farther, I want to make our bow. And for this, like I said, I'm going to use the plaid and the lavender ribbon. It's just going to be a small bow, okay? I'm going to have some longer tails, but the bow itself is going to be pretty small, okay? All right, so get this out of the way. Start off with the lavender. Now, you could use a 2.5-inch bow, or I'm sorry, 2.5-inch ribbon. Again, I don't want my bow to be real big because, you know, you got to think about scale. This is not that big of an area that we have here, and we're still going to need to bring some florals in. But I chose to go ahead with just the 1.5-inch ribbon, okay? And I like to a lot of times with my florals because I always feel like the florals should be the star of the show, okay? All right, now, get plenty of ribbon out here. All right, and I'm going to kind of be exaggerating on my tail. I'm going to put it's going to be about a 25-inch tail for right now. We likely won't have them that big at the end, but I'm going to take this, I'm going to pinch it, okay? And let me look here. I think that'll work. That is about a 9-inch piece of ribbon, about a 4.5-inch loop, okay? And I'm going to take it back to the back. And again, everybody does bows different. I do bows differently day to day. So, but we're going to take it back to the back. We're going to twist it, bring it back to the back. And I'm just sitting here thinking, do I want to put another loop or not? Actually, I think my bow's a little bit too big. I'm going to drop this down just a little bit. I'm going to make it about 8 inches, so about a 4-inch loop. Let's see what that looks like. Yeah, that's probably more like it. All right, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to make one more loop, just in case I want to make another tail. If I don't like this extra loop, I might add another tail. So, okay. All right, we're going to twist it Again, this, if you've watched the bow videos, you know, with the one-sided, or I'm sorry, the double-sided ribbon, you don't necessarily have to twist it, but I'm just in the habit of it, so I do it. I think it kind of helps the bow loops kind of lift up a little bit too. All right, now I'm just going to go right over the top. I want this to be my top ribbon. Kind of comparing, making sure I got enough for tail. Okay, and just squeezing that in there. I'm going to twist it. And bring this in just a little bit smaller than the one before. About a 1/2 inch to 1 inch. Okay, and I'm going to twist it. Bring it back to the center. And I'm going to make one more tail, or one more loop, I mean. I can't talk today. All right. So we made 3 loops of each ribbon. Now, if you want to use the easy bow, oh, get over there. If you wanted to use the easy bow or pro bow, or if you want to make your bow another way that works for you, that's fine. Okay? Don't ever think that there's just one way to make a bow, because there's not. All right. I'm going to get me a pipe cleaner, and I'm going to use brown. Actually, you know what? This is not going to be going through the back, so I'm going to use green. Scratch that idea. I'm going to use green. And I want to make a tail here. A little tail on my rib or on my bow, because I need some way to insert this into that foam. And unless I wanted to tie it down here on the bottom, I could always do that, but I want some way to insert it into that foam. Okay? And so I'm going to cut this off. All right, and let me see if I've got a small floral pin. I'll show you how. I usually use the steel pin, but steel pick, but let me see if I got a short. Yeah, I've got a short wooden pick, so I'm going to use that and show you how I would do it with a pick, with a wooden pick, I mean. So I'm just going to take that, I'm going to lay that right there, right beside it. Okay. Actually, I'm going to, you know what, I'm going to cut this a little bit shorter. Right beside it, and then if you want, you can take your wire up over the front of the bow. I'm not going to. Just trying to get it up as snug as I can to the bow, because I don't want it to be real floppy whenever I get that pick inserted. Okay, probably short. I probably cut it a little bit too short, but that's all right. And we just wrap this. Sometimes it's a little tricky when you got the bow hanging off of it there, because usually I'll twirl it. It's a little tricky. You just got to be sure that you're pulling the tape. Okay. All right, and some people put a little dab of glue on there too. I'm not going to, but just know that some people do. My hands are all sticky. Okay, and we'll trim this off a little bit too, so that make sure that it goes down there flush into the foam. I'm going to cut it at an angle. Okay, so now I've got something to stick into my foam. Okay, now another thing I could have done as well, I could have wrapped that pipe cleaner around one of those floral pins. Okay, that's another alternative. And then, you know, take the floral pin and stick it into the foam. Okay, all right. I haven't really thought too much about positioning here. I need to do that now. Guess we're to that point, aren't we? I'm going to trim off part of this so I can kind of get my plan. My plan was to take a lower half of this stem or this spray. I'm going to cut this. I'm going to need to actually get my bolt cutters for this one. See what I'm doing so I don't cut the wrong thing. There we go. Okay, I think that's good. I think we're just going to go right there, just a little bit off of center, up in the corner here, and then my tails will be draping downward, okay? So I'm going to dip this in the glue. And I'm going to, when I insert this, of course, I'm going to want to make sure I got a hole here in the moss. I don't want to drag that moss with my glue. And then I'm going to take that pick and I'm going to insert it this direction so that gravity's not going to help to pull this out at any point, okay? There we go. All right, and then we'll just fluff our bow. And like I said, our tails are going to be pretty long. And as I said, I might trim some of these ribbons down. I don't know that just yet, but I might. We'll just have to see how everything goes. So I'm going to bring these tails down this way. Okay, all right, so that's what we have so far. Okay, all right, now let's start adding some florals. Okay, now the next thing I want to do is to start adding my florals, okay? And I trimmed off this section of this stem, or this spray, and now I'm going to bring it down into smaller sections. Actually, this one section, you can see it'll piece off to at least 3 different sections. Probably I could even bring it down more, but I'm not going to. Okay, so I'm going to, this is one of the places. Now I want to trim off. Okay, and I'm not tearing this because I want the tape to keep this all secured and all bundled together, because there's quite a few little stems that come off of this little section here. Okay, all right, and then I'm going to do the same thing here. I don't know if this one will cut. Let me see. I'm going to have to get my bigger ones. I got 3 different levels of bolt cutters, in case you haven't seen, or wire cutters, I should say. Light duty, heavy duty, and medium. Okay, all right, so now we have 3 sections. All right, and this, actually, this, if you could, I don't know if you saw it before, it has this little bumblebee in it. So I want him to be at the center, okay? I want him to be there where everybody's going to be seeing him. And actually, I've got some little bumblebees. We need to probably add some more. I'm hoping, this is a pretty thick stem here. Let me look and see what I can do with this. I probably should have cut it at an angle a little better. Let me cut this a little better, because right now I don't know that I can get that through that moss or the floral foam. There, now it's a little bit more pointed, so that should make it a little easier to get in. But I'm going to go in here, I'm going to take each one of these little pieces, I'm going to give them a bend. Make sure you grab each little section. It's not the most glamorous part of the project, but it is one of the most important. Trying to get all these separated too. They're all kind of wadded up in there all together. Put this back in the back. Okay. All right, now let's find a home for him. I'm thinking I want him just, like I said, just right here front and center. I want to make sure that I have plenty of the basket showing. I do not want to hide my basket. Okay. All right, now let's dip this in some glue. I hope this will go in. If not, I'll have to put a steel pick on it. There we go. I was trying to make sure I didn't push down so hard that I break the basket either. Like I said, these brass baskets will crack. I've done that a couple of times. All right, now let's get all these things. I fluff that, and then I wadded it all up together, trying to get it in there. Let me fluff some of these. I want this nice yellow or orange flower coming down here underneath of that, or in between that bow there. Okay. All right, now let's grab another section. I'm going to bring this here so I can kind of see what I got. All right, so we have 2 orange flowers, okay? So I want to be sure I know where each one of those is. I do not have one on this. Let me see. Let me kind of place this out. Maybe bring this down here and maybe... Just playing around with it a little bit here. Kind of get a lay of the land. If I'm going to go taller, of course, I want it over on this side. Okay? I'm kind of liking it going down. All right, and again, we're going to fluff this. And again, I'm going to have to cut this at an angle. I'm going to cut a little bit shorter too, so I don't have to have so much to have to go through that foam. Oh, I pulled something down there. Oh, it's the orange flower. Okay. All right, we'll go ahead and place this. I'll use my needle nose pliers and push that down in there a little better. Okay. Sometimes it's hard to get that down in there well with your fingers, and you just got to use whatever you have. I use my needle nose pliers as another set of hands, so to speak. Go ahead and arrange these the way you want them. Make sure none of your florals are hidden though. Okay, get these out of the way. Okay, all right, now the other one, I'm thinking we'll bring this over off to the side this way. We've got something down here, so now we need something going up this way instead of the middle. And again, I don't want to put it in here, okay? All right, let me trim this at an angle again. I'm going to shorten up that stem. The shorter my stem is, the less I have to push through that foam. About forgot to fluff it. Make sure all your leaves are pointing the right direction too. You don't want your back side of your leaves showing. I mean, it's okay if a little bit of them do, but you don't want all of them. You want to see the front because it has this pretty variegation there. Make a hole in my foam or in my moss there. Okay. I have to say this little basket is stronger than a lot of them that I've worked with. A lot of them would have cracked as hard as I'm having to push on that. I'm going to bring this guy back up that way. All right, so that's what we have so far, okay? And depending on what the final work looks like, I might trim some of these and bring them down here just so that it's not quite so tall, okay? Because we got to think about scale. All right, now let's go ahead and let's add a little bit of greenery. Okay, so this is what we have so far. Isn't that cute? Put it down there where you can see it a little better. Cute, cute, cute. Okay, and just a little bit that we put in there was already pretty full, right? But we need to add some greenery to cover up the rest of the, the moss and kind of fill in back here. Again, we don't want to go out this way. We want to stay contained over here. And looking at it, I think I'm probably going to come back and I'll trim, I'll for sure probably trim a couple of these pieces and bring it down here closer to the bow. But let's go ahead and get a little bit of greenery. I've had a couple of them. Like I said, I've got the kind of the frosted boxwood, and then I have this other, it's a plastic thyme bush, and I just like the length of these a little bit better than these. I might stick some of these in later if I need, especially some of these. I could not just stick this whole piece in there because I think it's going to be too big, but we could maybe piece it apart there and maybe use some of this little flowy leafy green at least. But let's go ahead and put some of these shorter pieces in first. Still shedding. Let's go ahead and get our tags off. And one thing I like about this bush is that you can also trim it down even further, okay? And we may do that. I don't know yet. It's too early. On this one, looks like you can do the same thing. Glad Hobby Lobby and those places are finally starting to get some good product in, especially the greeneries. There for a while you couldn't find it except online, and you're kind of taking a chance when you order florals and greenery online, unless you know the person. And even so, sometimes unless you touch it and feel it, it's hard to say what it's going to be like. So, all right, just looking back in here in the back. Yeah, I think that's going to look good. I don't know if you can see it. There's really not a good angle at doing this, so you guys can see it very well, but I'll show it to you as soon as I get these pieces in. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's go right. I'm going to fill in the back here first. Let's see, I want some of the taller pieces. And again, we're going to fluff them before we put them in there, right? Actually, I wonder if I zoom in, if that'll help you guys a little bit. I said there was just really no really good way to tape this one. Okay. All right. Need a little piece back in here. I'm going to take one of these shorter pieces for that. Actually, you know what? I better look at what I got to put right down here too, though, because I don't have very many pieces of it. I better wait. I'm going to put a piece down here first. And I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to trim this. Okay. And actually, I'm going to shorten it up just a little bit. I want a little bit hanging down there below the florals where you can kind of see it, just to keep it cohesive. And don't forget about underneath the bow also. Just going to bring that right diagonally off the corner there. Okay, since I have all this over here, I want to make sure I extend down this way just a little bit. All right, let's put a piece underneath of the bow. So even though people can't see it from the front, got a piece of that stringy moss around here. Hang on, I'm going to clean this off. Okay, sorry about that. All right, but even though, you know, people can't necessarily see underneath of the bow, you don't want it to be naked. Well, if somebody lifts that up, or for whatever reason the wind blows, if they have this outside, something like that, you don't want it to look unfinished. All right, so we've got underneath of here filled in. Okay, you see that? All right, so now I'm going to go over on this side, but it's going to be very short. I don't want anything poking out that's going to hide my basket. Let's see, let's just use this little piece right here. I'm going to stick it right up here, right up against the bow. Remember to make a hole there. Okay. All right, now this is the last piece I've got of this. I'm going to turn it toward me so I can kind of look here. I feel like I need a little bit here, but I need one little piece right over here, so I'm going to deconstruct this even. We're going to have one piece coming out of the side over here. Okay, I don't need a whole lot of it. Sorry guys, I'm trying to get underneath the there at the camera, but I want just a little bit of it visible over here at the side. Trying to make this better for you, and I think I'm making it worse. There we go, just so it doesn't look neglected over there on that side, okay? All right, now let's come in over here come in over this area and just put a real short piece. Okay, right up underneath in there. There we go. All right. All right, so that's what we have so far. Isn't that pretty? Love it. Okay. All right, now let's add a few more florals. I'm going to transplant some of these that we talked about earlier. Okay. Like I said, I want to take this and shorten this part right here. And I want to shorten this right here and bring it in closer to the bow. Okay. Let's go ahead and trim this right down there at the nub. All right, the same thing here. Okay. I think I want that kind of pointing off right here in this corner. You can see we've got all the greens over here, but we don't have too much floral. So I'm going to stick that in there. Okay. All right, so right in there is where I put that one. And let's see what we're going to do with this. I might trim this one down yet. Make it in two pieces. We need a little bit of this little berry looking thing right in this corner. And we also need a little bit of it over in this area, right in here. Okay, so I'm going to put one piece here and we'll put the other piece over on the other side. Just to balance it out. Okay. I'll put that right there, right beside where we put this other piece of stray greenery. And you don't have to push these in there real far. Just know that. I don't know that I said that before, but don't feel like you've got to push that way in there. Actually, I think I'm going to trim this little piece off down right here too, this little purple. We'll put him someplace else too. I think we could just actually go right here in the bow. Let me look and see if I need any florals anywhere else. I think we need it here worse. Right in this little corner here doesn't have any of it. Okay? We're just trying to look through and see where, where our colors are distributed, where they're not. Okay. And I know my bow looks like you know what, but we'll deal with that here in a minute. All right, so that is what we have so far. Okay, isn't that pretty? Zoom out just a little bit. And then, of course, we'll have our tails. Now, and you might be wondering, too, I typically do not put a hanger on these. The reason being, typically, if somebody's going to hang it, they just put a nail or a peg on the wall, or else they'll sit it on a table. Sit it, kind of prop it up on a table or something. So I typically do not put a hanger on these. Sometimes I do, but typically not. Okay? All right, now, I think we need to fill in a little bit of greenery. And then I'll have to make some decisions on some of these other flowers. Remember, we still have these, we have these daisies that we could throw in there. And then we have this, what was that called? Clover bush we could throw in. Or we have another, we have the orange Cosmo. I think those are a little bit too big though. I think we'll scratch that for sure. Now I can also come in here and I can steal one of these off the remainder of the spray. I don't want to because I'm going to have plans for this, but I just know it's an alternative. If I need one more orange flower, I feel like I might need one right up in here. But we'll see, okay? All right, so let's add just a little bit more greenery now. Okay, now let's go ahead and add a little bit more greenery. And I'm going to stick with the shorter stems. I don't think I want to put anything big and long in here. All I need to do right now at this point is cover up some of the foam. So I'm going to take these little sprigs right here. I'm going to trim them where I have 4 of them because that's all I have. I have some other short ones, but the green was a little bit too dark. It was just not even the same family of greens, so I chose not to use those. Okay, all right, this is what we have so far. Okay, all right, so I'm just going to go in here. I'm just going to fill in some of these holes. I know right away I need a piece just like right in here. Okay. Oops. So that guy just went right in here. Okay. I'm going to come down here in this corner. Okay. Actually, I'm going to use this one that has 3 in it because I got a little bit more area I need to cover. Okay. All right, I think we're good underneath the bow over on this side. We've got one corner over here that could use something. Okay, and instead of just coming straight out here, I'm going to bring it up here again. I don't want to distract from the tobacco basket. So I'm going to angle it this way, not just straight down. Okay. All right, just to kind of fill in underneath of that bow, like I said. Okay. All right, I got one more piece, and I think we could use it up here, kind of behind that bumblebee. There we go. All right, now I'm going to turn it toward me and kind of look at it and see what I need to do. And I'm kind of leaning toward, you know, a rule of thumb is, you know, work in patterns of 3 on your florals. And I typically don't use that as a hard and fast rule. But I think in this instance, I want an orange, I want another orange one. I just think it's going to balance it out a little better. And I could put it up in this area. I could put it up here, or I could bring it down here a little bit further. So I am going to go ahead and I'm going to borrow off of that other. I'm kind of leaning even back in here. You know, these are more toward the front. I'm kind of thinking about back in here. Not tall, but just kind of peeking over that bow. So let me borrow, I already saw the one I want. It's going to be have the least amount of effect of my future plans I have for this. Okay, whoops. These guys are going to need a nice steam iron. I'll open these up just a little bit. All right, I'm going to turn it here. Yeah, I'm thinking just peeking right behind that bow. Okie doke. Trying to get all my bow all straightened out here. Okay. All right, let me look at it here. Could actually even bring another orange back here. I don't think we need it though. Only thing I am thinking is maybe a little bit more pink down here. Let me go steel again. Just trying to balance it out. Okay. Yeah, we've got a lot of pink concentrated up top here and on the side, but we don't have hardly any of it down here, so I think we needed to do this. Trying to see what I've got to work with here. And all these flowers, these are paper flowers. And I try to go in here and try and open them all up. I would not steam these guys. Now these are silk, but these here are paper. Put paper on them and, well, I guess you could test it and see what it does. All right, I'm going to need to put a pick on this just to get me a little bit more length. And grab one here. Get my tape. All right, and again, we're going to lay that right next up to that pick. Wrap that wire around it. Now let's get our tape. I usually run it up and down a few times. Make sure you got good coverage. Okay, now I gotta see how long I need this. So, because this is a 4-inch pick, but I'm going to shorten it up just a little bit. And again, I'm going to cut it at an angle. Okay, I want it kind of poking out right here. Right in this direction, okay? Perfect. All right, let me see what all we got. Now I need to decide what I'm going to do with these bow loops. Like I said, I've got 3 of them of each ribbon, but I was thinking I was going to trim one of them. I don't like this loop right here. So we're gonna do something with him. Trying to find the best place to trim it. Bring that up in the back there. I don't want to hide any florals with it, but it'll help carry that color of that ribbon up there. And it's pretty ribbon. All right, and this one here, I'm going to trim him too. Okay. Make sure I don't have any naked spots here underneath where I trimmed those bow loops away. I do just a little bit. I'm thinking I might trim. I'm going to borrow a piece of greenery. I'm going to put it right there where that bow loop was. Just fill that space. It's right in here. That loop didn't want to stay where I wanted it to, so I just brought part of the florals down here to grab a hold of it. Okay, I just took this from here just to make it stay where I want it to. Okay. All right, so let's go ahead. I'm going to dovetail these. I don't want it real long. I just want it, carrying some of that color upward just a little bit. I didn't dovetail that very good. Okay, got that one, and then I'm going to dovetail this. Okay. My ribbon wire is a little bit wavy right through here. And all I do, I just take my hand and just run it the length of the ribbon and get that waviness out. It's just part of, the way the roll was on the spool. Okay. Now let's see. And I want these tails long. I'm going to back up here now. I want these tails long, but not terrible long. Okay. I'm thinking maybe in this ballpark. I'm just going to angle them. I'm going to save this because my thinking is I might put another tail over here. I'll save the longer ones. I guess that's just that one. All right, now it's here. I'm just rolling that right around my finger and then pulling it down. Now these will go the other way when we pull it. Okay. All right, so that's what we have so far. Okay. Now, like I said, I wanted to decide. Let me look at it here a second. I feel like I need another lavender tail going out this direction. Maybe even another plaid. I don't know. We'll put the lavender one in there and then we'll see. I'm going to get my steel pick machine. Again, I showed you how to do it with a wooden floral pick if you need to, but I'm going to use my pick machine. Okay, so it just puts that pick on there. So I've got something I can dab into that foam. And I'm going to put it up here where it looks like it's coming right from the bow. Okay. Let's see how long I want it. Actually, you know what? I'm going to dovetail this one. The ribbon's wanting to wave. Be stay wavy. Now this ribbon is just a little bit on the weaker bodied side, and if I wanted to, if it just kept on giving me trouble and didn't want to stay where I, even despite having a floral in there, it just looks kind of, I don't know, the bow loop looks a little bit weak. I can always get it where I want it and then treat it with some fabric stiffener. And usually, whoops, I wasn't even paying attention there. Usually then that'll be enough to stiffen it up enough to where it'll behave a little better. Okay. All right, now let's put a little something there in the center in our bow. I think we'll be done. I'm liking this. I'm going to keep on borrowing off of this other stem here. Let's see. Should have just a little bit more greenery. I'm thinking maybe Okay, I'm just going to dip this in some glue. And we'll stick it right in there. As I told you before, make sure you've got your bow loops where you want, because that glue sets in there and it's gonna seal it down. Okay, just got that just kind of peeking out from the bow there. Now let's bring some of this, I don't know, it's not quite lavender. I'm not really sure what this stuff is. It's going to make it into little pieces here. They're a little bit manageable. We'll go right out from the bow. Almost feel like I need a little piece of greenery. Let me see where I can steal a piece from, because I don't have any more. This little piece is kind of folded over. I can take him. I just want just a little piece. So that's all I need, just to put it right there in the center. Doesn't take much to make a big difference. Okay. All right. I think we're done. I'm going to hang this up so you can kind of see it a little bit better against the white background. Okay. I know it's hard to see the way I've got it, but I think it turned out super cute. Okay. All right. I'm going to hang it up and then we'll come right back, okay? Okay, I'm going to bring you up at a close-up. It looks so miniature next to the huge wreaths. I told you it was a small basket, but I had to take what they had. But let me zoom in here for you. There we go. But as you can see, I went ahead, I had the tails a little bit longer. I did curl them up a little shorter, but because once I got it up on the wall, the scale was just a little bit off. But I think it turned out super cute. I said if you wanted to, you could take another bumblebee and scatter him in there somewhere. And if this spray or this swag is not available to you, remember you can do the same recipe with any kind of flowers or florals. This would be really cute with, say, maybe a bigger basket. Get glue there. A bigger basket, maybe a rooster in the background, and put some sunflowers and red poppies around, or some geraniums. Wouldn't that be cute? But yeah, and it's something that I always preach. If you're doing this to sell, you need to have both, lower end, medium end, or both. I say all three. Lower end, medium end, and higher end prices. Not everybody's going to want to buy your high, real expensive wreath. They might be just shopping for a gift. This would be a perfect alternative. So, okay. All right. Well, I'm anxious to see what you guys come up with this recipe. And as always, please get in contact with me if you have any questions or anything I can do to help you. And I will see you next time. Bye-bye.